Look, it looks like again, like it's a resurgence of the OGs coming back in and having to take control back of the genre again because the genre right now is really in a slump. And it looks like a lot of us now have to really jump back into this thing and save it, right? Because we allowed it to kind of implode on itself. And again, it's technology, it's the sharing of information, it's the sharing of sounds. It's not really pushing the envelope, but I also think it's algorithms too, because we're dealing with a situation where if it doesn't sound similar or doesn't tempo match or something like that, or doesn't have the same key or so forth and so on, it doesn't fit an algorithm. And I think what happens is this last 10 years has just been a chase of an algorithm, and trying to fit into an algorithm. That's why you don't have the music that pushes the envelope, and you don't have the things that were actually sounding different. Funny joke here. Yesterday we went to see this Pharrell movie, right? And for the Lego with these kids, and just kind of going through his timeline of the music that he did, and us being in the same space at the same time, trying to get on those albums and those things, and trying to work within those same that same time frame. It's like you see, like you needed a Neptunes, you needed a Timberland, you needed a, what I'm saying, you needed these different things that kept pushing the envelope and kept trying to do something different. You couldn't do what the Neptunes was doing; they were doing something different. You just couldn't do it. You had to go to them for that sound. And I think what happens in this situation is that, imagine everybody doing the same thing at the same time. You just couldn't. You would make the culture couldn't grow. You wouldn't get these moments. You wouldn't have these hit songs. You wouldn't have these things. You wouldn't have those things going on and on. So I think it's very important for us to get more creative. I think that's the underlying theme here. Is like, where is the creativity? It's like, we do understand that we're looking for hacks, and we do understand we're looking to be more productive and save time. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't mean that we have to lose creativity by, using the tools that's supposed to make making music easier and more fun.
But Jug, I think also what affects that is the loss of albums. An album allowed you to say, you know what, I'm going to create a record that's not necessarily the single.
Right.
I'm going to create a record where this artist is having a conversation with himself. Or I'm going to create a record where, he's having a bad day and he's in a slump. Or the police is messing with him, or some sort of storyline, or like, I'm making an album cut. And, that was like key. Like a lot of our records were album cuts, and we concentrated on making those records that was the meat of an album.
Yeah.
That really like allowed the artist to be creative. Like, it wasn't the single. It wasn't necessarily the single. It wasn't necessarily the hit. You had those producers that would give that, but at the end of the day, you wanted to make sure that you contributed to this entire project, because that was important. Yeah, the single was important, but the purpose of the single was to sell the album. And then once you got the album, you needed to be good with this album. This album needed to deliver. So it allowed the artist to be able to channel different things, be able to, yeah, I could do the single, but I have the opportunity and the landscape now to rap about something that's with some meaning, with some depth, to be creative. But now that everything was just so, the algorithm is just so hit, single,